Who do you think is viewed more favorably in the American public? Donald Trump or Taylor Swift? Yeah. Now, before you assume the answer is obvious, in the words of Lee Corso, who I was watching on College Game Day at 110 years old, not so fast, my friend. Taylor Swift is viewed less favorably than Donald Trump. And I admit, even I was shocked by that poll. And it's not like some poll that was conducted by DonaldTrumpFans.com. Okay? It was a real poll.
It was me and my friend.
It was done by the New York Times.
Interesting.
Yes. Conducted September 11th to September 16th after Taylor Swift's endorsement of Kamala Harris. And it shows that Donald Trump is viewed 47% favorably. 47% of people have a favorable view of Donald Trump. Taylor Swift. Have you guys seen the number here by chance?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so take a guess there.
I'm
just
curious on all the stats that you're covering.
All right, give me a guess.
So he's at 47.
Yes. You know that she's below him.
She's below him. And so if Price is right, I'll go with 46.
All right. What about you there, Mark?
I'll say 39%.
Well, if it's Price is right, then Mark wins because he was closest on the under. It is 42% for Taylor Swift.
Over.
You were over. Yes. So, by the way, Kamala Harris also topped Taylor Swift at 48%. So Harris is at 48.
Yikes.
Trump's at 47. Taylor Swift's at 42%.
No wonder we didn't see her last night, huh?
I wondered about that. I'm just saying.
Saturated.
Yeah, maybe a hair. So here's the story here. And once again, the poll is done by the New York Times. And never in your life would you believe, if you just consumed cable news and more mainstream media, that Taylor Swift is less favorably viewed than Donald Trump. You would think that Taylor's at 106% and Trump's at -7%. That's what you would think,
it's
right?
Like quarterback ratings where you can get over 100, right? You know.
Yes, exactly right. Just like quarterback ratings. But that's not the case, which goes to show you the American people do not get represented by their media for the most part. I mean, I think we do a decent job trying to make that happen on this show, but you would never in a million years assume that to be the case. So this story goes on to note both of the major party nominees had higher unfavorable ratings than Swift, however. Trump viewed negatively by 50%, Harris by 48%. Swift, by comparison, was only viewed unfavorably by 34%. But that's to be expected. They're politicians, right? They're politicians. So that makes sense. Their favorability numbers are higher than Taylor Swift's. Their unfavorability numbers are higher than Taylor Swift. But this notion that Taylor Swift is beloved by everybody and anybody based on the numbers is simply not true. Now, I don't have a problem with Taylor Swift. I'm cool with it. I hope she's liking her time here in Kansas City. If she's hanging out with Travis right now, you know, going over the game film from last night, trying to figure out how to get more than 4 catches in a game. I hope she's loving her time here. I want her to love Kansas City. I'm not an anti-Taylor Swift guy. But I look at this polling, and it shows me that Taylor Swift is not perceived by Americans the way that social media and media at large try to convince you she is perceived. And that is a massive story in and of itself. Now, what are the political breakdowns here? Who views Taylor Swift positively? 70% of Democrats, 41% of independents, and 23% of Republicans. Now, I guess I would put myself in that 23%. And here's why. Taylor Swift endorsing a Democrat is not news. I mean, it's news, but it's not news in the sense of it's not a surprise. I view Taylor Swift favorably because, well, she has achieved incredible accomplishments. While I disagree with her politics tremendously, her music is poppy enough where it appeals to many age groups. It's a little cheesy at times, sure, but I don't have a reason to view her negatively outside of her politics. And I don't like to judge a person based on just their politics. Unless they're shoving it in my face nonstop in a way that's beyond obnoxious.
Haven't
and
been to a Don Henley concert.
Yeah. No, that is right. Yes. But I'll give you a great example. Bruce Springsteen, my favorite artist of all time. He's a big liberal, right? We all know that. There was a time post-Iraq War when he was very vocal about this stuff at his concerts. And then he came to the obvious conclusion of, you know what? I can be a liberal. I can be a Democrat. I can support the people I want to support. I can give them money. I can do concerts for them. But when I'm doing a show for 50,000 people and they're here to listen to my music, well, I should give them what they want. And I respect that. I'm not going to judge you as a person because of who you necessarily vote for, even if I think you're dead wrong. There's more to a person than simply their politics. But if they're, for the most part, able to separate those two things, I don't have a big issue with it after that, John.
Your specific example's a good one. Ever since the 70s, Bruce has been for the working guy. He'd come to town, do a concert, set up some kind of a fundraiser, maybe for a union. We've got workers getting laid off here soon, so if he were aware of that and coming to town, he might set aside some money. That's always been a thing with him since the 70s, right?
Still
so
does
we
it.
know where he's at.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. There's no mistaking. There's no,
Can't
Oprah
believe
du
it.
jour, now I'm suddenly on the side. You hear these guys all of a sudden. I'm like, well, where have you been?
Yeah. No, he's always done that.
Always been there.
Still
right?
did
So
it.
to your point about the respect, when someone's, doing that, I got a lot of respect for that.
Yeah. When they're telling you who they are.
Consistent.
And they're consistent, but they're not in your face about it and trying to tell you to view the world the way that they do at a show that you're paying for music or sports or whatever it might be, then that's okay. So I don't, my views favorably or unfavorably of Taylor Swift did not change after her Kamala Harris endorsement. Now, I thought the way she came out and endorsed Kamala was embarrassing. To say it was about Tim Walz's stance on LGBTQ issues. It's like, are you kidding me? You came to the conclusion on Kamala Harris based on Tim Walz. If I could speak to her for 5 minutes privately, I'm pretty sure I would convince her to see the error in her ways and in her judgment. I genuinely believe that, which is why, just like Howard Stern said last week on his show, he doesn't want Trump voters to listen to his show because they're all stupid. I view things completely opposite. I would love to have a lot more Kamala Harris supporters or potential supporters listening to the show, because I believe in the fact that I could, and it's not me being overly confident. I just think that they could hear some things and listen to some ideas that might make them say, you know what, that actually does make some sense. The media narrative I've been getting is not accurate. I would love that to be the case. And I would say the same thing about Taylor Swift. So I view her just as favorably as I did before the Kamala endorsement. That being said, it is still beyond notable to say Donald Trump is viewed more favorably by the American voter than Taylor Swift. And you would never have guessed that if you didn't see the polling data behind it, which came out here over the weekend, courtesy of the New York Times, of all places. 913-408-7957. I mean, have you really changed your view on Taylor? Did you not know that she was a liberal who was going to vote for Kamala Harris? If you viewed her somewhat positively before the endorsement, that really shouldn't change after the endorsement. And it is possible, as long as people are able to separate it for themselves, the person from the belief, or let's say the music from the person from the sports, whatever it might be. It's not like Taylor, if she was showing up at Arrowhead with like a Vote Kamala shirt, we'd have a different conversation on our hands. That's not what's happening.